Hello folks, I'm Pamela Young and this is thrive2030 brought to you by growthcurv. What did you see in the early days with regard to a shift in the behaviour of your clients?
Some markets there were rent holidays, whether they were commercially agreed or almost imposed by governments. There were clearly restrictions on where people go to work. We had an interesting situation in India where we have a lot of FMs who go and facilities managers who go on site and help manage the buildings. They had a curfew in various markets, so when our people went to work to supervise the buildings, because the building systems still need to run, the lights need to come on, the air conditioning needs to work, the security systems need to work. So you need people there to make sure all that's happening, even if there are no tenants in the building. But we were having our people, frankly, beaten up by the police on the way to work because they were
And how did these early changes impact your business revenues? Did you notice a slight drop at the start, or were you impacted at all?
There's probably a significant drop at the start, although fortunately it wasn't very long lived, and the market started to sort of to come back. I mean, overall our revenues were down over the course of the year, or about 7 or 8% across the region.
Have there been any obvious adjustments by property owners about the way they are managing their investments, about the prices that they're charging? Are prices going up and down? Are services different? Are they shifting the utilisation of their empty space if people are giving up space?
There are some asset classes which are doing really well. So industrial logistics, very strong, the pricing for industrial assets is more or less the same as prime office, and in some places more aggressive. There are other sectors, so those sectors supporting the technology sector, so particularly data centres, has been very strong. We're seeing a lot of interest in healthcare, in life sciences, in those asset classes. So there's a bunch that are doing well. There's clearly also a bunch that are struggling.
Do you think COVID has put increased significance on ESG requirements? Do you think people are now starting to realise that the importance of the whole climate change argument because of what COVID has done to the world? Is there a relationship?
I don't know if I could sort of comment on the causal relationship. What I do think COVID has done is it has supercharged, super accelerated a whole lot of trends that were already underway. So
as leaders of global businesses like Knight Frank, and as a leader of an Asia Pacific region, as you go forward, you're going to be looking obviously about how do you compete and keep relevant, and also your customers are going to be thinking, the investors and owners of property also are going to be thinking about those long-term impacts. And I think maybe this is one of those occasions where we have to really think about balancing that short-term strategic intention and the long-term one. Because if we're going to be pushed to think much more longer term, is that whole environmental and social impact going to be one of the things that we can use to become more competitive by being more green. Any sense of that from any of the countries?
The whole environmental agenda has moved up the priorities for all of our countries. Developing or developed is that for everybody, environmental considerations are now a much bigger deal, and certainly higher up our priorities. And you're right. I think there are sort of some mega trends which are underway, which we need to be planning for. So
it must be very challenging for a business that has 8,000 people across the region to look after people to reach out, nurture, orientate, manage, and motivate new hires when you haven't met them.
To be honest with you, hiring leaders and bringing them in to lead big departments, big business units is actually even more challenging because they've got to come in and create an impression with a